Mandela's struggle against apartheid. Introduction. In the annals of history, there are individuals whose lives transcend time, leaving an indelible mark on the world. One such luminary figure is Nelson Mandela, a beacon of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. Welcome everyone to Utopara, the storyteller, where today, we embark on a journey to explore the extraordinary life of a man whose legacy continues to inspire generations. Born on July 18, 1918, in the small village of Mvizo in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela emerged from humble beginnings. Little did the world know that this young boy, shaped by the rich tapestry of African traditions, would grow to become a global symbol of courage and resilience. Mandela's activism. As we delve into the chapters of Mandela's life, it is crucial to understand the oppressive backdrop against which his struggle unfolded. Mandela's political awakening began in earnest when he joined the African National Congress, aka ANC, in the early 1940s. The ANC, founded in 1912, sought to unite Africans in the struggle against racial discrimination and oppression. To comprehend the essence of Nelson Mandela's journey, we must first navigate the treacherous landscape of apartheid-era South Africa. A period marked by systematic racial segregation and institutionalized discrimination. Apartheid, an Afrikaans term meaning apartness, was a government-sanctioned policy implemented by the National Party in 1948. This policy sought to entrench racial divisions, stripping non-white South Africans of their basic rights and liberties. Under apartheid, laws were enacted to enforce racial separation in every aspect of life. From education and healthcare to public spaces and transportation, the state imposed a rigid structure that favored the white minority while subjugating the majority of the population. One of the most egregious aspects of apartheid was the forced removal of non-white communities from their ancestral lands. Families were uprooted and relocated to barren and desolate areas, perpetuating economic disparities and social injustices. The passbook system was another instrument of oppression, requiring non-white individuals to carry identification documents that restricted their movement. Failure to produce these passbooks led to arrests, reinforcing a culture of fear and subjugation. In response to these injustices, a groundswell of resistance emerged. The African National Congress, aka ANC, became a formidable force. Advocating for equal rights and challenging the oppressive regime through nonviolent protests and civil disobedience. Mandela quickly distinguished himself as a charismatic and influential leader within the ANC. His oratory skills and ability to mobilize the masses made him a driving force in the fight against apartheid policies. The Defiance Campaign of the 1950s marked a significant turning point. Mandela, alongside other activists, advocated for nonviolent resistance against unjust laws. This campaign aimed to defy segregation by peacefully protesting discriminatory practices. The Sharpeville Massacre of 1960, where peaceful protesters were met with brutal force, drew international attention and condemnation. The world began to witness the inhumanity of apartheid, sparking a global movement against the South African government's policies. Faced with increasing government repression and the limitations of nonviolent resistance, Mandela, along with other ANC leaders, took a bold step in forming Umkhonto we Sizwe in 1961, the armed wing of the ANC. Their goal: to engage in acts of sabotage against government installations in order to bring attention to the injustices of apartheid, and to escalate the struggle for liberation. Their decision to resort to armed struggle was not taken lightly, but was seen as a necessary response to the intensifying oppression and violence perpetrated by the apartheid regime against black South Africans. Mandela recognized the limitations of peaceful protest in the face of a government willing to use extreme force to maintain white minority rule. However, their involvement in Umkhonto we Sizwe did not go unnoticed by the authorities. In 1962, Mandela was arrested and sentenced to 5 years in prison for inciting workers to strike and leaving the country without a passport. While serving this sentence, evidence of Umkhonto we Sizwe's activities was discovered, leading to additional charges against Mandela and several ANC leaders. In 1964, Mandela, along with other ANC leaders including Walter Sisulu, Govan Mbeki, and Ahmed Kathrada, faced the infamous Rivonia Trial. They were charged with sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the apartheid government through violent means. Mandela's speech from the dock during the trial echoed defiance, as he declared,
"I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities."
The Rivonia trial marked a turning point in the struggle against apartheid, as Mandela and his co-accused used the trial as a platform to articulate their vision for a democratic South Africa. Despite being sentenced to life imprisonment, Mandela's resolve remained unbroken, and his leadership continued to inspire the anti-apartheid movement, both within South Africa and around the world, with people calling for his release. Imprisonment. In 1964, following the Rivonia trial, Mandela, along with other ANC leaders, was sentenced to life imprisonment. Robben Island, a desolate outpost off the coast of Cape Town, became his isolated prison, surrounded by the unforgiving waters of the Atlantic. The heart of Nelson Mandela's struggle against apartheid found its crucible in the harsh confines of Robben Island, where he would spend 27 years of his life. Life on Robben Island was characterized by extreme adversity. Mandela and his fellow inmates were confined to small cells, subjected to grueling manual labor, and endured deplorable living conditions. Yet, within these confines, Mandela's spirit remained unbroken. Despite the physical and psychological hardships, the political prisoners on Robben Island devised ingenious ways to communicate and maintain a sense of camaraderie. Mandela's leadership skills flourished as he fostered a culture of learning and resistance among his fellow inmates. Mandela's letters from prison revealed his enduring commitment to the anti-apartheid cause. His words resonated beyond the prison walls, inspiring a global movement that called for his release and the dismantling of apartheid. As the years passed, international pressure mounted on the apartheid government. Mandela's imprisonment had become a symbol of resistance, sparking global protests and calls for sanctions against South Africa. The turning point came in 1990 when President F.W. de Klerk announced Mandela's release, who had been in prison since 1963. Signaling the beginning of the end of apartheid. When de Klerk took office as president in 1989, no one expected him to play a key part in the termination of apartheid. Both as a lawyer, as a parliamentarian, and as a member of the government, he had stood out as a firm upholder of white privilege. But when he realized that the apartheid system was leading to both economic and political bankruptcy, he put himself at the head of a radical change of course. In a historic speech to the South African Parliament on February 2, 1990, he announced a series of groundbreaking measures, including the lifting of the ban on anti-apartheid political organizations such as the African National Congress and the release of Nelson Mandela. Mandela emerged from prison with dignity and a vision for a new South Africa. Nelson Mandela's incarceration was not just a personal struggle, it was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit against oppression. Release and negotiations. The year was 1990, and a wave of anticipation and jubilation swept across the world. As Nelson Mandela walked out of Victor Verster prison after 27 years of imprisonment. Mandela's release marked a pivotal and historic moment in the struggle against apartheid and set the stage for unprecedented negotiations. As Mandela emerged from the prison gates, he spoke words of reconciliation and unity, emphasizing the need for a peaceful transition to a democratic South Africa. His release wasn't just a personal victory but a symbolic triumph for the collective aspirations of a nation yearning for change. The release of Mandela was a catalyst for political transformation. As negotiations for the dismantling of apartheid gained momentum, Mandela engaged in discussions with then-President F.W. de Klerk and other political leaders. The negotiations, often challenging and fraught with tension, sought to navigate the complexities of power sharing and the establishment of a non-racial, democratic South Africa. Mandela's leadership was pivotal in steering the process towards a peaceful resolution. The Convention for a Democratic South Africa, aka CODESA, became the crucible for shaping the nation's destiny. Mandela, alongside other political leaders, worked tirelessly to bridge gaps, fostering an atmosphere of inclusivity and compromise. F.W. de Klerk and Nelson Mandela and the ANC agreed to prepare for a presidential election, and to draw up a new constitution with equal voting rights for every population group in the country, paving the way for the first multiracial elections in 1994. Mandela's vision of a united and democratic South Africa was becoming a reality, as the nation stood on the brink of a new era. His collaboration with Nelson Mandela laid the foundation for a new era in South African history. F.W. de Klerk and Nelson Mandela were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 for their efforts to peacefully dismantle the apartheid system and establish a non-racial democratic South Africa. In April 1994, millions of South Africans, of all races, went to the polls in a historic moment of democracy. Nelson Mandela, the once incarcerated freedom fighter, cast his vote, symbolizing the triumph of justice over decades of oppression. On May 10, 1994, Nelson Mandela, a symbol of resilience and hope, was inaugurated as South Africa's first black president, marking the end of apartheid and the beginning of a new, inclusive era. Mandela's journey from prison to presidency showcased the transformative power of forgiveness, reconciliation, and the indomitable spirit of a nation. Mandela's activism had triumphed. Election and presidency. In his inaugural address, Mandela spoke of building a rainbow nation, where all South Africans, irrespective of race or background, would coexist in harmony. His vision was rooted in unity, reconciliation, and the pursuit of a democratic and just society. Mandela's presidency was marked by a commitment to healing the wounds of the past. The establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, aka TRC, under Archbishop Desmond Tutu, became a platform for acknowledging the injustices of apartheid and fostering national healing. On the international stage, Mandela's leadership garnered respect and admiration. He worked tirelessly to rebuild South Africa's global standing, fostering diplomatic relations and encouraging foreign investment in the nation's burgeoning democracy. Mandela's presidency saw a focus on addressing socio-economic disparities. Policies were implemented to uplift the disadvantaged, expand access to education and healthcare, and promote economic growth. Mandela's government sought to dismantle the legacy of apartheid and build a more equitable society. In 1999, after one term in office, Mandela chose not to seek re-election, demonstrating a commitment to democratic principles and a peaceful transfer of power. His presidency had set a precedent for governance rooted in inclusivity and democratic values. Nelson Mandela's presidency stands as a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness, reconciliation, and visionary leadership. His legacy endures in the hearts of South Africans and the world, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, a united and inclusive nation can emerge. Legacy and impact. As we reflect on the life of Nelson Mandela, it becomes evident that his legacy transcends the boundaries of time, geography, and ideology. Mandela's words resonated with a universal call for justice, equality, and human dignity. His speeches, often imbued with wisdom and compassion, became anthems of hope not just for South Africa but for people facing oppression around the world. Mandela's commitment to reconciliation, forgiveness, and inclusivity has left an indelible mark. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission served as a model for post-conflict societies seeking healing through acknowledgement and forgiveness. Post-presidency, Mandela continued his work through the Nelson Mandela Foundation, focusing on education, healthcare, and social justice initiatives. His philanthropy aimed to address systemic issues and empower future generations to build a better world. Mandela's influence extended far beyond the borders of South Africa. World leaders, activists, and ordinary citizens drew inspiration from his resilience and commitment to justice. His life became a beacon, illuminating the path towards a more equitable and compassionate world. The physical landscape bears witness to Mandela's enduring legacy. Monuments, statues, and institutions dedicated to him stand as tangible reminders of the profound impact he had on shaping the course of history. Perhaps Mandela's greatest legacy lies in the hearts and minds of future generations. Young leaders inspired by his example continue to champion the values of justice, equality, and the relentless pursuit of a better world. As we conclude this journey through the life of Nelson Mandela, let us carry forward the lessons of resilience, compassion, and the unwavering belief that change is possible, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. Challenges and criticisms. While Nelson Mandela is revered as a symbol of peace and justice, it's essential to acknowledge that his journey was not without complexities and controversies. In this part, let's delve into the challenges and criticisms that Mandela faced throughout his extraordinary life. Mandela's decision to embrace armed resistance through the formation of Umkhonto we Sizwe was met with criticism, even from within the anti-apartheid movement. Some argued that this shift undermined the nonviolent principles that define the struggle. In the 1980s, faced with escalating violence and international pressure, Mandela and the ANC took the difficult decision to suspend armed struggle. This move, seen by some as a pragmatic step toward negotiations, was criticized by those who believed it compromised the movement's principles. Post-apartheid, Mandela's presidency was marked by internal divisions within the ANC and the challenges of governing a nation recovering from decades of racial strife. Economic disparities, corruption, and slow progress in addressing social issues led to criticism from various quarters. Mandela's handling of the HIV/AIDS crisis during his presidency faced scrutiny. Some critics argued that the government's response was slow, contributing to the spread of the epidemic. This remains a contentious issue in discussions about Mandela's legacy. Mandela's diplomatic approach, characterized by reconciliation rather than retribution, received mixed reviews. While hailed for preventing a potential race war, some critics argued that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission did not adequately address the crimes of the apartheid era. Mandela's willingness to engage with controversial figures and nations also sparked criticism. His interactions with leaders like Muammar Gaddafi and Fidel Castro, as well as his reluctance to condemn human rights abuses in certain contexts, raised eyebrows in international circles. In navigating these challenges and criticisms, Mandela remained steadfast in his belief that true leadership requires difficult choices for the greater good. As we examine his legacy, let us recognize the complexities inherent in the life of this extraordinary leader. Quotes and speeches. Nelson Mandela's eloquence and wisdom were not only the tools of a statesman but also the instruments of inspiration for millions. In this part, let's explore some of Mandela's most profound quotes and memorable speeches that have left an indelible mark on the tapestry of history.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
In his inauguration speech as South Africa's first black president, Mandela spoke of the collective power and potential of the nation, urging people not to shrink from their inherent greatness.
During my lifetime, I have dedicated myself to this struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination.
This quote, from Mandela's speech during the Rivonia Trial, encapsulates his commitment to justice and equality, irrespective of the race of the oppressor or the oppressed.
Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
Mandela often emphasized the transformative power of education as a tool for personal and societal change, recognizing its potential to break the chains of ignorance and prejudice.
If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner.
This quote reflects Mandela's commitment to reconciliation, highlighting the need to engage with adversaries in the pursuit of lasting peace.
Forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That is why it is such a powerful weapon.
Mandela's emphasis on forgiveness, as expressed during the Truth and Reconciliation Commission hearings, underscores the transformative power of letting go of hatred and resentment.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Mandela's enduring legacy is encapsulated in these powerful words, echoing the spirit of resilience and agency that defined his life. Conclusion. As we come to the end of our journey through the extraordinary life of Nelson Mandela, we find ourselves standing at the intersection of history and inspiration. Mandela's story is not merely a chronicle of one man's struggle against apartheid. It is a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the power of resilience. From his humble beginnings in the rural village of Mvizo to the hallowed halls of power as South Africa's first black president, Mandela's life unfolded as a beacon of hope, embodying the triumph of justice over oppression. His words, etched in history, continue to resonate, a clarion call for unity, reconciliation, and the unwavering pursuit of a better world. Mandela's legacy extends beyond the borders of South Africa, becoming a source of inspiration for generations across the globe. Monuments, institutions, and events dedicated to Mandela stand as tangible reminders of the impact he had on shaping the course of history. His teachings on forgiveness, leadership, and the relentless pursuit of justice echo in the hearts of those who continue to be inspired by his example. Mandela's influence was not confined to political spheres, it transcended borders and touched the lives of people from all walks of life. From world leaders to ordinary citizens, his message of hope became a rallying cry for those who believe in the transformative power of compassion and resilience. As we reflect on Mandela's life, let us carry forward the lessons of unity, forgiveness, and the belief that every individual has the power to make a difference. Mandela's journey was not without challenges and criticisms, but it was his ability to rise above them that truly defined his legacy. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it's done. His life was a testament to the idea that, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, change is possible, and the human spirit is capable of achieving the extraordinary. My thoughts. When contemplating Mandela, the first thought that crosses my mind is his enduring 27-year imprisonment. The prospect of more than 2 decades behind bars is both daunting and terrifying. Mandela faced numerous opportunities for release, contingent upon a change of heart. Yet, he staunchly refused, unwavering in his commitment to his profound beliefs. Reflecting on this, I introspect. Could I endure the harrowing reality of prison life for over 27 years? Would I steadfastly reject offers of release if it meant compromising my political convictions? The answer, perhaps, no, as the notion of an indefinite mental ordeal seems insurmountable. The resilience exhibited by Mandela and other ANC leaders is truly difficult to comprehend. Unlike Mandela, my mental fortitude might not endure such a prolonged incarceration. The thought of spending a lifetime in those conditions feels like a mental torment beyond my capacity. However, Mandela and his comrades endured this seemingly insurmountable challenge. It's an incredible feat that, after enduring years of adversity, elevated him not only to a position of leadership within South Africa but also as a global icon. Though Mandela has departed, his spirit leaves an indelible and pivotal mark on humanity, serving as a testament to the enduring power of resilience, conviction, and the pursuit of justice. I want to end this video with his Rivonia Trial speech, 1964.
I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to see realized. But if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
This is Utopara, the storyteller. See you next time.